Joining me on the program now is Tanya Unkovich. Tanya, kia ora, good morning. Thanks for your time today.
You are welcome. Good morning.
Last time we talked, the situation you were in where you weren't able to be at your father's funeral, really, really tough time. Tanya, thank you for your honesty and your openness. As I'm chatting to you today, it's been a bit of another tough morning for you.
Yeah, it sure has. And as I said to you, this is going to be one of those times and one of those interviews where I practice what I preach. And no matter what is going on in my life, I'm going to show up authentically and openly and honestly and with vulnerability too, because I know that vulnerability is power in a way, if that's the right word to use. But yes, no, last week, of course, lockdown, funeral couldn't happen. And we have actually heard this week that we were able to bury my father because he was going to be buried up north. And so restrictions have been lifted for him to travel, do a solo trip in the hearse up north to be buried. And so this morning at 9 a.m. we went and stood outside the funeral home and watched him be driven away. And, sung a wee hymn for him that was going to be his exit hymn. So, it's kind of like a final goodbye, and well, not a goodbye, but in this physical sense. So, it's a tough morning this morning.
Tough stuff indeed. And look, I know Rima listeners will be praying for you and prayers of encouragement. Thank you for sharing that. It's a tough time for a lot of people in different ways. So perhaps not as tough as that, but we all perhaps need to, like you say, practice some things to help us get through tough times, be it lockdown or something else that we're facing, but particularly during a level 4 lockdown, need to put some good things into practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are some of the things that I've been doing, and I've put this list together for the listeners and for anyone else out there on how to actually manage our emotional state during this time, how to get up and show up and still take good care of ourselves, to keep a good routine and that sort of thing. So the first one was really just to keep your good daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing needs to change in a way.
So we're not going out, but we still can get up at the same time, meal times at the same time, keep it as normal as possible?
Absolutely, and get that bit of morning exercise in. If you have got a bit of extra time now with travel, we don't have to travel, right? So you can actually use some of your travel time to do some of those things where you go, but I don't have time. Well, there's no excuse now, is there? We do have a little bit of extra time. So definitely keep a good daily routine during lockdown.
Yeah, and redeeming that time and perhaps putting a few extra things in the schedule rather than less as we work through this. I suppose you've been very open and honest about some of the things that you're challenged by at the moment with your dad's funeral. He's been buried today. We need to be in touch with what our emotional state is, though. We can't just pretend that we're not going through tough stuff. We need to be connected to how we are doing emotionally.
Absolutely. And the first thing I say to everyone is be as present as you can. So often we want to run from the current moment, the present moment. We don't want to be in the day. We're focusing on, oh my God, when's this lockdown going to end? Or what am I going to do in 2-3 weeks' time? Stay in today. Live one day at a time. As it says in the Bible, just live for today. And if you could master anything during lockdown, I'm going to invite you to learn how to take one day at a time.
And especially when we're in the situation there'll be an announcement later today. There's no point planning for next week until we know some of the information that's coming out today. So let's just put that all on hold. When we have more information, then we can start planning and be involved with the next day.
Yeah, because when you live one day at a time, you can then learn how to accept whatever happens in that day. And it's going to be good feelings. It's going to be some not so good feelings.
Yeah.
So it's about learning how to sit with discomfort. Because no matter how bad something feels, the sun is still going to rise the following day. So we can do anything for that 24 hours, even feel discomfort, even feel uncertainty. Get used to it, because the truth is, tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're still going to be here, and you're probably going to feel better, and you're going to go, wow, I sat through that yesterday and I'm still here. So it's a great time to master resilience, you might say.
Yeah, certainly. One of the things on your list, which I think is a really good one, is to, and this is maybe what we can do with some of the time that we're not traveling, some of the things that we're not doing, is put 30 minutes of reading a day into your schedule.
Yeah, learn, really challenge yourself even with your learning. Step out of your comfort zone and build that intellectual resilience. So, for example, I'm really into history at the moment, and it's not something I did when I was growing up, but now I'm really loving it. So I'm making sure that every day, even if I'm watching a Netflix documentary, that I'm learning something or reading something. So we do have time to do it now. So make use of the time. That intellectual stimulation is fantastic for building that personal certainty as well.
It says, of course, in Ecclesiastes, that famous passage that got turned into a song, that there is a time for everything. There is a time to grieve, there is a time to mourn, there's a time to do some things, there's a time to do the opposite of those things. Even in your time of grieving, Tanya, is there space in that for laughter? Is there space in that for finding reasons to be cheerful despite what you're facing?
Absolutely, and I make it an intentional thing to actually laugh every day, and whether it be watching funny things on YouTube, anything to do with cats or, that sort of thing. But also, knowing how much laughter was important for my father. His nickname was Smiley because he was always laughing. Yeah. And so many funny things have happened since he's passed, and I'm going, oh, Dad's probably rolling around laughing, So he would be laughing right now at some of the things that are going on. And I want to honour him, but also carry on what I know kept him going for so long, and that was the laughter.
Yeah.
The laughter. We have to hold on to all the good stuff, don't we? And, life is always going to be swings and roundabouts, even during lockdown. So find something to laugh about.
Exactly. And, I mean, today's a Feel Good Friday as well. But and I love the way that sometimes this is intentional. Maybe you don't feel like a laugh, but go to YouTube, look up cat videos or whatever you're into, although I expect that you have enough live action cat stories in your life with your cat Thomas, but being intentional about finding a reason to be cheerful even on the darkest days. Some wonderful advice there.
Absolutely.
Tanya, our thoughts and prayers very much with you on this difficult day. If people wanted to find out more and look some wonderful tips on how to get through lockdown and having a good positive state of mind, how can people connect with some of that great information, Tanya?
Well, look, my YouTube channel has got all of my REMA interviews on it. So there are so much there that you can go back and have a listen to. I've got some tools on my website as well, TanyaRunkovich.com.
Well, Tanya, our thoughts and prayers with you, as I say, but thanks for joining us today.
You are so welcome. Have a great day.